As we mentioned earlier in the box office portion of the podcast, the new Paranormal Activity movie, The Ghost Dimension, came out this weekend. And as Halloween nears, it's perfect for horror and thrill fans alike. And this week, we are super excited to be joined by the film's lead actor, Chris Murry. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Hey, man, great to be here. I'm just clapping in the car by myself.
That's the way to do it, you know.
Thanks for having me on Next Level. I can't wait to get to the next level. Whatever you guys ask me, I'm sure it'll be there.
We are constantly going to the next level. There's just so many levels we're at right now. It's kind of ridiculous. But
so you guys just get really stoned and call people up and ask them about movie stuff.
We should.
Yeah.
That actually would be a good segment.
That's Next Level.
Well, I think we'll bring you back on for that. Especially, we'll have you call the people because you have acting chops, so you could probably do a much better job at it than we could.
Yeah, I'd love to prank your audience.
Prank calls with Chris. That's what we'll call it.
Sure. We can think of something better than that, probably. But
yeah.
No, it's good to be here. It's good to be here talking about Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension. We had the premiere last week, and now we need all your listeners to go see it.
Yeah, and like we kind of briefly talked off air. So the last one, I already forget the marked ones. That's what it was. That released in like January, which seems like really odd timing for a movie like this. So you guys at least got this one back to normal around Halloween, which is basically perfect timing for a movie like this.
Yeah, I think so. Well, see, initially when I came on board, we had an August start date and a November end date, or like late October end date, and they were going to try and release this for Christmas. So in the movie, you will actually see a Christmas tree and a lot of Christmas themed decorations and set pieces. But what happened was we couldn't actually figure out. They had a hard time figuring out the whole story, and so we went into various stages of rewrites and reshooting, and so we actually didn't finish shooting until this August. We did a reshoot a year after we started. So they had planned on releasing it for Christmas, and then we heard a March release date, and then thankfully, and I'm actually really glad they did decide to just release it for Halloween, because it's a Halloween movie. Let's face it, guys.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird to see this at Christmas, so I am glad about that. Plus,
you don't want to take your mom and your dad and your grandma to go see this, really. I mean, unless they're that kind of thing. Like, not exactly, love and Christmas.
Plus,
it's more terror.
Plus, if it was coming out at Christmas, you'd have to deal with the Star Wars competition, and you don't want that.
Yeah. I saw the trailer, as I think everybody else did yesterday. And, it looks terrible, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's going to make no money.
I'm definitely not going to go see that, but I probably will scoop up some Disney stock, because, I mean, tickets are already on sale for that thing, so.
Yeah, I think it crashed a couple websites, but enough about that movie. Let's get back to Paranormal Activity.
Yeah, that movie sucks. Yeah, Paranormal Activity is where it's at, guys.
It's a little bit different, too, from some of the past ones we've seen, right? Like, you actually see the paranormal stuff going on?
Yeah. So I'll just fill you guys in real quick. So my character, Ryan Fleege, a very successful video game designer. I live in a big house. I have a hot wife and I have a gorgeous kid. And I find this box. My brother comes to town, to stay with me. He's kind of my idiot brother, played by Dan Gill. And we start hanging up some lights. And we find this box, and it has this old, like, 1980s gigantic camera in it. I don't know the name of the brand of camera, but I think they still sell them actually online. And we also found these tapes. And so what happens is Ryan, played by me, being the curious tech guy he is, turns it on and gets it working. And what he picks up is kind of weird. He initially thinks it's a glitch, and so does everybody else. But then he starts to realize that the stuff that he's seeing in the camera actually moves from room to room. And then as he and his brother Mike start to watch the tapes, they're not pornos like they hoped for. They're actually weird cult kind of tapes where they see these two girls, Katie and Christy, and therein, therefore, and you probably get where all of this goes next. So I start to see not really anything that you could call a form, but as the movie goes on, it starts to get stronger and it starts to form more as my daughter starts to get a little more, let's say, affected by what's going on in the house.
Okay.
Then you get to see the activity. And actually, if you go see it in 3D, which I highly recommend, all of this stuff that I'm seeing through the camera actually comes at you in the audience. So it's a really rad effect, and it sort of just sinks you right into this whole story.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And I heard you mention your hot wife. Generally, the series Paranormal Activity has a small cast with the kind of a main guy and a main girl. It seems like you have another main guy buddy character as well. But talk a little bit about your chemistry with Britt Shaw on screen, because it kind of makes these movies the way that these two main characters interact with each other, because there aren't that many characters in the movie.
Yeah, you know what? I thought they did a great job sort of they added two main characters. One, my brother, who comes to stay for Christmas, and he's kind of a loser, directionless guy. And Dan Gill, who plays him, is incredibly funny. And I come from an improv background, so we had a lot of fun with a lot of the the pages of the script, just playing around. And then Britt, who plays my wife, she's great, really accommodating, fun actress to work with. And then Olivia Taylor-Dudley plays her friend, her really hot friend, who kind of stops by on a yoga retreat. So essentially, you have sort of these four characters, four adults rather than two, and then my daughter, played by Ivy George. So yeah, you're right. It creates this whole different relationship. It's not just the husband and the wife going back and forth. You honestly look forward to the scenes with the two brothers, because there's a ton of comedy, in the first. I would say even throughout the whole movie, when Ryan and Mike are together, it's going to be kind of funny and goofy. And then when Ryan and Emily, his wife, are together, it's a little more, wife-husband relationship. And then Mike has the hots for her friend. Mike has the hots for Olivia Taylor-Dudley, which creates some really funny scenes in the movie as he's trying to score her, and he just comes off as a total idiot.
Yeah, I always like a little bit of comedy mixed in between, having to hide my eyes.
No, it's really fun. Like the first 20 minutes, it's actually, you're going to get a lot of laughs, and I don't think you really had those in the other Paranormal Activities. Yeah, there's an attempt at comedy, but Dan's like a real successful stand-up comedian. I've done tons of improv, so it's just, I think it really shows, and there's a really great chemistry between all of us. We were all roughly the same age, and we're all young, hungry actors, and it was really cool to just kind of get in there and riff together.
Yeah. And then you're kind of jumping into the middle of a series that has established itself in this Paranormal Activity series where people know what to expect. I guess first question are you a fan of the first 5 Paranormal Activities that happened? And I guess what's it like being a part of a series that's kind of already established now?
Yeah, when I first got the job, I had only seen one, and I was like really scared in one, so I watched all of them, and I watched them honestly like by myself in a hotel room, like they sent me all of them, and it was like a bad, like I had to like honestly hit pause and take walks during 3, because it just built this whole suspension. You don't watch these movies like you're like, God damn, I'm comfortable. This is so much fun. Like you watch it like going, fuck them, man. They're just getting, and you kind of, you cover your eyes a little bit. So yeah, being a part of the whole mythology, I think super cool. But I also think like this is kind of a one-off too, because it's got this awesome 3D special effect going on. It's coming at the audience. It's funnier. It's bigger. It seems like a really much bigger of a movie than sort of the previous ones. And yeah, I just think it's scary as hell too. So in a way, I mean, the other ones are scary as hell. Don't get me wrong. I think you'll get the sense of this tight family, and then you're just going to go on the ride that you go on every time you watch one of these movies, and you're not going to feel very comfortable. But it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and the nice thing they've done with these movies is they've kept them kind of lower budget, like a lot of found footage type films can be. But I think, people might think, oh, it's lower budget, it's, whatever, it's probably really easy to do, blah, blah, blah. I actually think that makes it harder to film because it has to make it so much more believable, and that's what they've had such success with so far is making the films. Like Steve was saying before that, people actually thought the first Paranormal Activity was like happened in real life. Did you find that this was actually a little bit more difficult, or was it a little easier than standard filming?
Well, I think you have to act a lot in these movies, especially this one, because we were acting off a lot of things that weren't there.
Yeah.
So you're constantly you're really acting a lot. And on the other side, everything has to be so natural and so conversational, like you were doing it in real life, so that say you memorize your lines and you spit them out they're memorized lines. That doesn't work in this film. So you have to sort of, we would get pages, and we didn't necessarily have to memorize everything. We just had to get the idea of what was going on in the scene and then make it our own, so that you just feel like you're living in this family's house, and the pauses and some of the lines get cut off. It just makes it more natural. And so to your question, yeah, it was grueling, man. Filming this film was grueling. I had no idea I was going to be. So much was going to be required, and it would go so long, and they're long days. Every day it's from the beginning to the end. There's really no downtime. So I really worked my butt off filming this one. And like I said, there's a lot of acting you have to do in this movie. So hopefully it comes across that it's pretty natural, and that we're just a family.
Yeah, and most of a lot of the stuff you've done in the past, you've done a bunch of commercials and voiceovers and things of that nature. And a lot of those, at least that I've seen, were more upbeat and kind of fun, some Budweiser ones and stuff like that. And this movie is essentially the complete opposite of that. Does this side of the industry really interest you a lot, or do you prefer to kind of keep it light like you were talking before with your improv background?
Well, I think it's changed a little bit because I always am looking for the joke. It's sort of it comes natural to me. But now that I got to wear this concerned father, these concerned father shoes, I think personally in my career I'm looking for a little bit more of an edge, a little darker character. It seems to interest me now than maybe it did before. And quite frankly, if I got offered more horror, would I do it? It just depends on the project. I think now I'd want to do something like It Follows. Did you guys see It Follows?
Yeah.
It kind of blew me away. I would want to do something maybe a little more art house if it's going to be horror. I don't think I want to jump into and maybe the Saw franchise is over, but I don't want to jump into gore just for the sake of it. Ultimately you're spending so much of your life on a movie that you want it to really connect with you somehow, some way that's gonna pull you through after 6 weeks, or in this case a year of filming. You really want to love the character that you're playing, and you want to be really invested to give the performance that needs to be given.
Yeah, for sure. And I hear you kind of talking in the future tense with your career, which is cool because if I'm not mistaken, this is your first major role in Hollywood, so you're pretty much you're on the rise here. Tell us a little bit about your experience of kind of breaking through as Adam mentioned, commercial guy and some voiceover stuff, but now you're in Hollywood as a major role. Tell us about your breakthrough here.
Well, I always thought that I was destined for a major role in a Boston cheese ad, but yeah, it took a lot longer than I probably when I started had anticipated. But at the same respect, it made me who I am. All that struggle in New York City, I was doing theater, I was writing stuff, I was doing web series, students, everything, really. And then I started doing the commercial work, which I don't downplay because it really, it teaches you a lot of lessons, and you can get across really quickly sort of what the character in the commercial is doing, and what he needs to do for them, in the commercial. So all that experience, and I was always reading, I've been really close on stuff. I remember I was up for a role when I was 25 opposite Rosario Dawson, I think I made out with her in the audition. I didn't get that. It's almost been people don't really know. Yeah, exactly. People don't really know exactly what to do with me because I am comedic, but I'm also trained, I've trained for years as a dramatic actor. I like to bring comedy to whatever it is, because that's just who I am. But so I guess I would just say, yeah, I'm on the rise. I've been, I know exactly what I'm doing. It's not like I'm a newbie.
Yeah.
It's just hopefully this gives me that opportunity to really show people, I feel like I haven't even scratched the surface yet. And I look forward to being able to dig in and show people, some good acting.
Yeah. Do you have a story for us during the filming of Paranormal Activity as kind of the main guy where you looked outside yourself and kind of said, oh, well, this is where I am now. I'm in Hollywood now. Nobody's really noticed me or anything. I did, I guess lately it's gotten pretty nuts with all the appearances, and I was on a Latin late night talk show, which was Nice.
pretty cool. But I was kind of, I did this job for Budweiser Ireland a number of years ago, and I landed in Ireland, and I was like bombarded with people. So, like, they just loved, like, I was like the only commercial running, I think, in Ireland at that time. So I got a little taste of that, and by the end of it, I just couldn't wait to like get out of there. It did get like kind of, it just does, you tear down that privacy that I actually really like. But I would say, like, there was nothing during the filming that made me look back. I guess I said to myself, I'm going to do the best job I can here. This is going to go somewhere, and I'm going to go somewhere with it. And just grateful for the opportunity, and hope I can turn this into something really cool down the road.
Yeah, I think you picked a good I don't know what the series, I guess, is probably the best word. Series to hop on with.
I picked a good first lead role.
Yeah,
because it's got the built-in audience. And it's like I'm not going to go back and do like a bunch of low-budget indie films now. If I can help it, right? Because what I was doing before, and I learned a lot from all of it. But like at this point, it's time to really see what I can do. See if this builds a career that I'm happy with.
Yeah.
If not, I'll be gardening. So, I'll be planting trees or something in Northern California. I don't know what I'm going to do.
At least
everybody says a little prayer for me.
You have at least you have Making Out with Rosario Dawson to fall back on. That's always a plus.
Yeah, that was so long ago. Sorry, Rosario.
Real quick before we let you go, I want to ask one more question here. I saw in your bio your major, and you have your degree was in history. How did you end up in acting from going into it as a history major? That's
a really good question, man. Probably too many. Never mind. I'm not going to go there. But I was always interested in acting as a kid. I grew up in Kentucky, and I was an athlete, and I played soccer at Davidson, which has a really good soccer team, and did academics. My parents just never thought, hey, we'll ship Chris up to New York or LA to try the acting thing. Even though I think at one of my plays, I think it was in middle school, somebody from the University of Kentucky theater department gave my mom her card and said, get him to our department. They probably hid that from me. They're like, you're going to be a doctor or a lawyer. And so, I went to college, and the reason I majored in history, A, is because I had no idea what else to major in, and B, because I really like stories. All history is essentially storytelling.
Yeah.
How we get it, distilled into book form, and whatever point of view, it is. History is, who knows if that really happened, but that's how they translate it. And I guess from there, I just was like, well, I got a worthless degree from a great college, and now I'm going to go be an actor because I have no other idea what I want to do. So I just kind of went for it, man. I played soccer, for 3.5 years at Davidson, and then by my senior year, I wanted to do something a little different because I realized I wasn't going to go to the MLS or, overseas. So I was starting to do some theater classes and got the first kind of main stage role of the spring, and I said, maybe I'm pretty good at this. Let's go make this a career. Like, I'm the only guy that would be like in one play and decide to go be an actor. Like, that's kind of like who I am. I'm like, yeah, fuck it, let's go be an actor. Sounds like we can do this. So yeah,
Yeah.
So the short answer is it's been all hard work and a lot of struggle and a lot of moments, sitting looking out the window and kind of like banging my head slowly against that window. And eventually I guess it's starting to work out. So,
hey, well, you're on the right path, and obviously we wish you the best of luck, and we want our listening audience here to make sure they go see Paranormal Activity, The Ghost Dimension, in theaters now. And also follow Chris on Twitter at ChrisJ_Murray. Chris, thanks again for coming on the podcast, man. We really appreciate it.
Thanks so much. I'm also on Instagram as Money Makes Me Funny.
Money Makes Me Funny?
Money Makes Me Funny if you want to follow me on Instagram.
Perfect.
I'm not this guy. I'm not one of these guys that's doing like a separate artist page. It's just all me, unfiltered, so whatever.
That's even better. Even better. That's our podcast. We're unfiltered.
They're like, Chris, it'd be good if all your Twitter and Insta were like the same handles. I'm like, you know what? That sounds stupid. I'm just going to do different handles for everything. So. Follow me. Make sure you go see the movie in 3D. It's a wild, scary ride. Go bring a friend, and do not see this movie by yourself in a theater.
Or in a hotel room.
Or in a hotel room, yeah.
All right, well, thanks again, Chris, for coming on, and we will be back with more Showcast right after this.